Welcome to StartupHakk. My name is Spencer Thomason. I am the CEO and co-founder of CleanRouter as well as many other products. Here are some of the lessons that I've learned building a successful business while challenging startup norms. My challenge is to push you to rethink startup success. This is episode 5, How to Ship Your First Product. What is a true MVP or minimum viable product? And 4 great lessons to get to market quick. So I'm going to be dual recording this. I'm going to shoot it in video for YouTube, but also use the audio as a podcast too. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast, then make sure you go to subscribe and leave a good review. And make sure you go and check out the previous episodes. Since this is a story, it will make a little more sense to know the backstories. So again, this is episode 5, How to Ship Your First Product. What is a true MVP? And also 4 lessons to get to market. I've been a software developer for over 22 years. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Carson, and I have 5 awesome kids. I started this channel to tell the stories I have about how we started a successful company knowing nothing about how to start a company. Clean Technology is the parent company of CleanRouter as well as many other technologies and products. This podcast is going to focus on the launch of CleanRouter. It's going to be about how we took this idea and passion and built it into something great. So it was 2009. As I discussed in previous episodes, myself and the other co-founder, Eric, had an idea to make the first content filtering router for parents to be able to filter all of the internet as it came into your home. So this was the start of an idea that has grown into a $5 million business. So to bring you up to speed a little bit as what we've discussed in previous episodes, we built a prototype to prove it out, we'd formed our partnership through some bumpy roads, we'd found a little bit of funding to get off the ground, we'd chosen the hardware and already gotten past one of our first major failures and found a way to make it a success. So seriously, if you haven't gone and listened to the previous episodes, go do it now. And hit the like and subscribe button, it really helps. In this episode, we're going to start with a lesson first and then tie some things into it. As I've now run a successful company, I've counseled hundreds of entrepreneurs. Overwhelmingly, I preach again and again, do whatever you can do to get your product to market as fast as possible. The natural inclination is to have the product be perfect, but that's not a good idea. So what is MVP? MVP stands for Minimum Viable Product. This means literally the bare minimum that you can ship that product. It means whatever you think you have to ship, don't wait. Get something working and start to ship it now. See how quick you can get a customer to pay for it. Do you think I'm crazy? Well, some people always think you've got to have it perfect first. But just remember, Apple's first iPhone couldn't even text pictures. You could send SMS, but you couldn't send a picture. Tesla sold a $250,000 sports car, which really was just a proof of concept, and there wasn't even a single supercharger in the country. And they used this as a way to fund the rest of their business. Gmail launched the basic HTML. Gmail launched with basic HTML that didn't even look like JavaScript, and it was invite only. Amazon started with just selling books, and those are just a few of the examples. So I've often told starting entrepreneurs, if you're not embarrassed by your first product, then you shipped too late. You can vet a business idea by building a landing page with analytics, a sign-up form at the end, and then spend $500 over 10 days of advertising, and you can guess at audiences that you think would be interested. You can then take this information and test if that's going to be a viable product. You can actually get pretty close to a really good estimate on whether that's going to be viable or not. So as you remember from last time, we started with the Alix board, and then we had to switch to the Router Station Pro board. We talked a little bit last time about how we had to make the hard decision to ship the right board, which was the Router Station Pro board versus the Alix board, which only had 2 ports, as well as many other detractions. Well, during that time, we were sure that the most important thing about selling the router was going to be the presentation of the device itself, the case. We were sure that what we shipped to the customer was going to be the most important when they opened it and seeing the case. So we lucked out, and Eric's nephew was actually an engineer going through school who knew how to use CAD design. We paid him a fraction of what a firm would have cost, and he designed the first case. We got a prototype made locally. Here's the actual original prototype that we had made. You can see some of the different ports and some of the different testing. So as you can see a little bit better here in the picture of it, we got this prototype made, and then we had a local firm print this out. This was before 3D printers were a big thing, so this was a really big deal that we got a local firm to be able to do this. It cost us a ton of money. And we had someone do the design run. All this cost at least $2,000, but I think it might have even been more. And then we were just about to put in our first order of the case. Remember, Chinese manufacturers don't do anything under 1,000 parts or 1,000 units, so I think pretty commonly it's 2,000 units, but in this case I think we talked them into 1,000 units because we'd begged enough. When we made the decision to move to the Router Station Pro board. So the case that we had no longer worked for this board because it was built for the Alix case. So once again, we'd overcomplicated it, we designed too much, and we needed to just get it shipped. But luckily, we caught it right before we'd ordered the case, and so we dropped over $10,000 to get the molds built out and another $10,000 to run the first 1,000 cases. So we were already $20,000 in just to get the first case delivered. However, we had friends and family at this point that were literally begging us for this product. They wanted it so bad because they wanted to get filtering into their homes to start to protect their families. So what do? We shipped the first ones in a cardboard box, and guess what? They didn't care. The first 3 routers that we placed worked perfectly fine in customers' homes for over 6 months in these cardboard cases that you see here. And they didn't even care that it was a cardboard box. What we ended up finding out was they cared a lot more about the router itself than what it was shipped in. So then we were ready to ship, and we got our first shipment of cases. And then we opened the first one and tried to slap the board in, only to find out that somewhere between us, either between us, Eric's nephew, or the Chinese manufacturer, the board wouldn't fit into the case. This post was in the way and it had to be modified. So what did we do? We busted out a Dremel and we started modifying the cases one by one. And we got these cases and we got the boards into the case so that we could ship. So, 4 lessons that we learned from the case. Number 1. No one cared what the case looked like. We thought it was going to be so important for people, but guess what? They truly didn't care. Number 2, if you can use an off-the-shelf product or some part of the product to get it to start selling, use the off-the-shelf. You'll find the things that customers care about are different than the things you think that they're going to care about anyways. So get to market. I see far too many entrepreneurs, and we were certainly guilty of this, who think that we had to produce our own product in order to be able to sell it. Use an off-the-shelf product whenever possible, even if it isn't totally perfect. In fact, the first 50 cases that we got didn't even have the logo printed onto them, so in order to get that on, we had to actually print out a sticker, as you can see here. We had to print out the sticker and actually put it onto them so that they could actually have our logo on it. And little did we know, that actually would become a practice that we would end up doing over 10,000 routers of non-printed stuff and just putting a sticker onto them. Number 3, whatever you can do to take a step back and ship the product earlier, ship it. Get to market, minimum viable product. Challenge your MVP assumption. Whatever you think the most minimal thing is, take 10 steps back. MVP. Get something out the door so you can get into the hands of customers and learn and iterate fast. Number 4, you need to run in this model. How long does it take you to sell 1? How long does it take you to sell 10? How long does it take you to sell 100 and 1,000? You will make different decisions at each one of these levels. And so it's important to see how quickly you can get to these various different levels. And this also is part of the MVP in the actual selling of the product as well. So, what idea can you launch to try to get off the ground in the next 6 months? Okay, now take that and figure out how you can do it in 2 weeks. Challenge yourself now and see what you can do to make this happen. What can you cut out to get that product out the door? You think I'm crazy? So challenge yourself right now and see what you can do to make this happen. What can you cut out to get that idea that's noodling around in your brain out to a customer as quick as possible? Elon Musk said, stop being patient and start asking yourself, how do I accomplish my 10-year plan in 6 months? You'll probably fail, but you'll be a lot further along than the person who simply accepted it and was going to take the 10 years. Thanks for joining us today. As a reminder, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and share with your friends everywhere. Thanks. We'll see you next time.